110 years? Really? How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a crazy case coming out of Lakewood, Colorado, which is basically Denver, involving a then 23-year-old truck driver by the name of Rohel Aguilera Medeiros. He's been convicted of causing a truck accident that claimed the lives of 4 different people driving their cars on the interstate right around 5 p.m. rush hour in 2019. And may they all rest in peace. Prayers out to the families. However, 110 years, 27 counts for an accident. Is this the appropriate sentence, or did they go way overboard on the prosecution? Now, before I get into that, let's roll the clip. In this clip, you're going to see the person who's been convicted. You're going to see the crash site, and you'll hear a few more details. But after we get done watching that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what was said there. Then I'll give you my 2 cents and my deep, detailed analysis. And then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Appeal is now planned for the truck driver sentenced to 110 years in prison in a Colorado accident that killed 4 people. Rohel Aguilera Medeiros was sentenced on Monday in Jefferson County District Court. You see, that horrific wreck was on I-70 near Colorado Springs Mall. That was April of 2019. Our Rick Salinger has covered the trucker's case since that day and has new information right now. Rick?
Well, Jim, James Colgan, the attorney for the truck driver, says there will be an appeal, but it won't be based on that mandatory 110-year sentence. Instead, it'll be on any errors that might have occurred during the trial. But still, that sentence is raising more than just eyebrows. For those who drive the big rigs, what happened in Colorado this week is startling. 110 years in prison for Rohel Aguilera Medeiros in the fiery 2019 crash that occurred after losing his brakes.
It's unbelievable, honestly, because it could happen anytime, anywhere. And if the brakes fail, the brakes fail. It's a malfunction. 4
people were killed. The truck driver convicted of vehicular homicide, assault, and recklessness, bypassing a runaway truck ramp and swerving into stopped traffic on I-70.
I'm begging for forgiveness.
His attorney told CBS 4 there will be an appeal. An online petition on Change.org has around 2 million signatures now calling for clemency or commutation of the sentence. The governor addressed that.
We review all clemency applications. We've yet to receive one from the individual.
Some, but not all, the victims of the crash settled lawsuits against the trucking company involved, but it has since gone out of business. The truck driver now left to bear the brunt of what happened.
The loss of life is sad regardless, but 110 years, that seems a bit much.
Truckers like him who pass by on I-70 may not notice, but there's a small memorial to this very major crash. The attorney for the truck driver says the law does not differentiate between negligent acts and someone who might commit a mass shooting, and so they have no choice with that sentence.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, there's quite a bit to this story, and there's a few things that were not said in that video. First things first, let's talk about the plea deal he could have had. You see the 110 years, right? And that's crazy in my humble opinion, and I'll explain why throughout the remainder of this video. But he had the chance to take a 10-year plea bargain, okay? And if you know, like I know, if you get 10 years, you could be home in 5, depending upon good behavior or whatever state you're in. They might let you out in half the time, okay? However, Mr. Medeiros did not want to take the plea deal. 10 years, nope. I didn't actually kill anybody. It was a mistake. People died, but I didn't do it intentionally. You see what I'm saying? So I didn't kill them. It was an accident. It was a mistake. So I don't want to take the plea deal. I don't confess. What I want to confess to is a traffic violation. Yeah, I was speeding. Yeah, I didn't maintain my lane. Yeah, I was swerving. But I didn't actually kill anybody, so therefore I'm going to go to trial. Obviously, it didn't work out too well. There's mandatory minimums going on. So he was convicted and sentenced to 110 years in the penitentiary. Now, I think it's excessive. However, I believe that this could have gone a different way if he were to plea. And there's a lot of guys who say, nah, don't plea. He shouldn't be in jail at all. No time in the penitentiary. As a matter of fact, I've been hearing about a truck driver protest, a boycott of Colorado because of what happened here. And I've seen quite a few TikToks of guys just saying, nope, we're not going to deal with it. This is crazy. It was an accident. This could be any of us out there in the mountains in Denver. It could be snowing. It could just be the crazy mountain, the steep grade. I'll talk about that in a moment. All those things could factor into having an accident out there on the mountain where somebody dies or more than one person dies. It's unfortunate when anybody loses their life, but this is what happens sometimes. There's accidents. I mean, we've seen plenty of guys have accidents where somebody died and nobody goes to jail. The R&B singer Brandy was involved with something like that. Bruce Jenner, back when he was known as Bruce and not Caitlyn, he did that. There's been quite a few things that happened. I think there was an NFL player that killed a pedestrian. I mean, these things happen. It's unfortunate, and we don't take pride in it, obviously. But sometimes accidents happen, and you got to ask yourself, is 110 years in the penitentiary appropriate for an accident? All right. Now, let's get to what happened. Now, he was carrying the person, Medeiros. He was carrying a bunch of cut lumber in his rig. I ain't talking about them logs, just like straight tree logs that you might see in one of those trucks where you're just out in the open and you're not trying to be behind it because you ain't had to try the log come through your windshield. I'm talking about cut lumber, like 2x4, that type of stuff. Planks, essentially, that you might see at Home Depot. He had a bunch of those in his vehicle. So if you're coming down the mountain into Denver, it's going to be a steep grade. It's like a 6% grade. Now, I know about mountainous driving because I'm in Appalachia right now in East Tennessee. So I'm on mountains all the time. To go from here in Chattanooga to Nashville, you got to go up and down Mount Eagle. That's like a plateau type mountain type thing. It's really steep going up and it's steep coming down. 6% grade, 4.5 miles. It was worse back in the day, like a 9% grade for a long time, but I digress. The whole point is that I understand about steep driving. And if you have a heavy vehicle like a truck, it's easy for that to roll down the mountain, pick up speed with no acceleration, no nothing, because just momentum. You're going downhill. You can put your car at the top of the hill, and I've done it before. Put your car at the top of the hill with going 0 miles an hour and just roll down. You'll pick up speed very quickly. You'll be going 80 miles an hour in no time, okay? So when his brakes fail in the truck and he cannot slow down because you're on the mountain and it's going downhill, it's like, what do I do? What's going on here? Now, he's Cuban, but he was trained out there in Texas, right, where it's all flat. But I presume to get a CDL, commercial driver's license, you must know how to drive in the mountain. You must know about your Jake brake, your regular brakes, all that kind of good stuff. You must know how to drive in the mountainous area. Yes, you may not be trained in the mountains, but you got to know how to drive in the mountain because you may not always be in Texas. You may have to go to Colorado or California or somewhere else, somewhere in the Rocky Mountains, or you may have to go back east, go in the Appalachians and, Tennessee, West Virginia, Georgia, New York, or whatever. Pennsylvania, you need that skill, you need that experience, but I don't believe he had that. I think he did not know how to really manage the situation, therefore the accident happened. In the video, they said he passed up one runaway ramp, but I've read that he passed up not one, not two, but 3 runaway ramps. Did he know what a runaway ramp was? I don't think so. You should know what it is because you got to take that test. And I would presume if you're going to be driving on the road, you need to know what that is. That specific space is for trucks, so why wouldn't you know it? Who's responsible for that? I'm not really sure. But the guy was calling his trucking company. It's a small company, like 5 truckers in the whole company, real small outfit. But he called the company, and he's like, hey, I can't stop. My brakes are out. What do I do? And they said, get on the ramp. But when he tried to get on it, it was somebody already on it. But you already passed up 2, or you passed up at least 2 in your descent. So the prosecution was like, look, he was speeding already, according to him confessing to speeding. He did not get on 1, 2, or 3 of the runaway ramps. And if he would have done that, the runaway ramp, rather than going downhill, which is where he was going and he couldn't control himself, literally running away, he would have gone uphill, therefore stopping him. Because the only reason why he was going is because he's going downhill. He's not accelerating. He's not hitting the gas. He's just going because his wheels are turning. You can't stop that. You can't just lock your wheels up. Even if you could do that, you'll just crash because you still have momentum that's going to all come forward and you'll just flip. Therefore, you might end up dead and your truck can land anywhere. It can land on people that are driving, on pedestrians, whoever. But anyway, so he did not know to get off on the ramp. But if he would have had mountain driving experience, then he would have had it. So whose fault is they didn't have mountain driving experience, or he was just ignorant to what to do in that situation? I'm not really sure. But 110 years in the penitentiary, I think that's really kind of improper. It really is. But I mean, what should happen here? I mean, you got 4 deaths. You bypassed the runaway ramps and you were speeding. So what should happen? Maybe the plea deal was right, but did he do it on purpose? I think that this is going to be an ongoing case. They're going to appeal it, and there could be clemency. I'm not sure how it's going to work. He's not getting a death penalty. He's getting life in the penitentiary for 110 years. Maybe he'll get a reduced sentence. I don't know. But as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to all the truckers out there. I know it's a dangerous job. You know, I had an uncle that was a truck driver one time, and he went off on the ramp. He was at the top of the ramp, like teetering. It was crazy. Because West Virginia, where I was born, I know how it is driving the mountains. You got to know how to drive the mountains. It's an art to drive in the mountain. Okay? I've driven the mountain in a Toyota Corolla before by myself. It was crazy. You got to speed up and slow down, and it's a mess. It's like you in the big fishbowl. At certain points, you got to go down and up. You got all kind of grades, and like try driving in Beckley or somewhere in West Virginia. You be all over the place. You swerving. It's like you got snake roads, and you got rises, and you got inclines, declines. It's a whole big mess. So shout out to y'all. I know it's a dangerous job, and I understand why you guys are supporting this man because of what happened. They're going to try to appeal this. Will they have success? Will it work? I can't tell, but I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Is this sentence appropriate? 110 years, straight to the penitentiary. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. Where do I stand? I say this. I don't believe 110 years is appropriate, but that 10 years out in 5, maybe so. And the only reason is because he was speeding and he did not go on the runaway ramp. Now, the question is, why didn't he? Was he scared? Did he try to preserve his own life? Did he not know what that was? I want to know more about his education and that particular background. If he didn't really know how to stop it and the accident just happened, he was not on drugs, he was not drinking. If he simply didn't know, then it's not his fault, is it? I mean, whose fault is that? The person who gave him the license, whoever the company is? I think it's more their fault than his. But we'll see how the whole thing plays out during the appeal or if there's clemency. And shout out to all the guys out there protesting. You guys are doing a great job. So I understand how you feel. You guys are like, look, this wasn't right. This could be any of us. We don't want to have this be our future. For having an accident, we go to the penitentiary forever. That's not right. It's not okay. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.